Hey guys, welcome to this video, which is going to be a walkthrough of Lady Ashvane Mythic from an Affliction Warlock point of view. I'm going to talk a little bit about cooldown usage, different essences, movement, and general playstyle on this fight. This is the first real challenge in this raid, in my opinion, which is why I chose to start with this one and not any of the first three bosses. So if you're looking for those, they are not planned to be done yet, but that might change depending on how this one goes. So let's just jump right into it. On this kill, I was using Crucible of Flame rank 3 as my major essence, as compared to Condensed Life Force, which is available to most people now. So I used my DSM early so that I'm able to get my first Dark Lair out early. This matters because of what strategy we use. We use a strategy where we are lusting on the third shield, which is pretty common for most guilds. And it lines up exactly on 6 minutes, basically. So you want everything to be ready at 6 minutes. So using your 2 minutes and your 3 minutes on cooldown is very, very important if you're using Crucible of Flame. If you're using Condensed Life Force rank 3, then you're gonna be using your DSM together with your Dark Lair every time, so you actually hold your 2 minutes for your 3 minutes. Apart from that, the only really thing you can do to help out the bubbles is like Agony and UA. One UA will get... The UA will get refunded, the shard will get refunded if the bubble dies, which it should within the duration of the UA. So it's not really a huge boss damage loss, so you can help out a little bit with the UA and Agony for extra shards as well. When it comes to the intermission phases, as a Warlock, you are very, very mobile, and you can easily take up the responsibility of moving to the far away soaking pools when people break their corals. Even if you don't have a marker yourself, you can very easily go towards the middle of the room and try to cover for the back ones, even if that means going out of range. Compared to a mage or a boomkin or a hunter, you are losing a lot less from being out of range of the boss, in addition to the fact that you don't have cooldowns generally on any of the damage phases themselves unless you use another strategy. Makes you a prime target for a DPS to be a part of the soaking team in the back. You see here my 2 minutes are about to come up, my DSM and my Cyclotronic, and I'm gonna use them instantly, as this allows again for all my cooldowns to be ready on 6 minutes later on in the fight. Again, this will not be the case if you're using Condensed Life Force. You will be holding your DSM for the second Dark Lair. We're now coming on the second shield, and this is where you really want to pay attention to where the raid is. The raid healing starts to pick up tremendously in this phase, and you really don't want to be a drag on your team. As a Warlock, you are pretty resilient. You can run things like Dark Pact and Demon Armor if you feel like you need more sustained, or Burning Rush can really be useful in the intermission phases to help pick up the soaking in the back, which is what I was running on the kill. Another thing that is very, very important is to use your Death Bolt and Phantom Singularity on cooldown, because the timers are so very strict on this fight and how you line up your cooldowns. You need to use the second Dark Lair basically on cooldown. You can see it coming off here. Unfortunately, I get caught in a blinded bubble, so I'm not able to use my Dark Lair exactly on cooldown. But you really want to try to make that happen, that you cast your Dark Lair as it comes off a cooldown, because it will line up so much better on the third shield. If you're playing Condensed Life Force, the Dark Lair that you just saw, the Dark Lair setup there, will also be your second Dark Soul Misery, so it will be a very, very big damage spike. Breaking the second bubble, just trying to help out a little bit on the blinded bubble damage before I head onto the middle of the room. Again, if you don't have Condensed Life Force yet, the Crucible of Flame rank 3 is also very strong, and that means you can see here I'm using my Dark Soul Misery on cooldown exactly when it comes up, so that it all lines up 2 minutes later on into the fight when we pop Bloodlust. One thing that can be very useful on this fight, especially in these burn phases, is to always have a plan of where you want to go. It's like, if I get an Arcing Asteroid debuff on me, I instantly know where to go and where to help out. Like now, I'm just looking to the back, seeing if there's anything to soak, and helping out. When it comes to Warlock output on this fight, it can look pretty low, but it's not really the case because of how you don't really have any real ad cleave briny bubble damage, so your boss damage is more than adequate to be a part of this fight, even though it can look like you're falling towards the bottom of the meters. As you can see here, we're coming up on the 6-minute mark. This is where you want to be having everything ready, assuming that you use the strategy that you lust on the 3rd shield. So you're gonna see we're basically going to lust here in about 10-15 seconds. And if I were to use my Dark Clear any later than I have been using right now, then it would not even be up for lust. So that's like the most important part of this fight, is to use your cooldowns on cooldown. Or line up your Dark Soul Misery with your Dark Clear, assuming Condensed Life Force rank 3, to make sure that you have it for this point. This is where you want all your damage to be in. You can see here that my Dark Clear is basically going to be cast at the end of Lust, even though I was very, very strict with casting it on cooldown. That is one thing you really want to look out for. We continue trying to burn it. There's nothing that can help us now. 'Cause every inch of earth is covered in our dust. Don't be like me there and stand outside of the barrier when the big damage is coming in. That is not something you want to do. Always try to look out for the raid cooldowns that is being placed down, whether it be darkness or barrier or anything like that. Can very much save your life. Always keep a keen eye on your HP pool to make sure that if the next bubble that hits, if you are when you're taking that damage, that you make sure you don't die. As a Warlock, you should have more than enough tools. And especially pressing Drain Life, even without a lot of ID stacks, in the early parts of this burn phase at the end, can also be very, very helpful for healers, just to relieve pressure going into the last burn, as you have a massive amount of bubbles hitting you. A lot of people in the raid have stacks already, and it just relieves pressure on the healers. When you come to this last burn phase, it is pretty much do or die. You have 1 minute to kill the boss, or she will get the 4th shield, which is basically the Hardened Rage. I would not recommend nuking these bubbles. I would just cleave them off, dot them with Agony, for more ID stacks and shard regen. I think what I do here with the double Unstable Affliction is not worth in hindsight, but can't play perfect every time. Make sure that when the fight ends that you sit on 0 resources, like no shards, no ID stacks. There we go. The fight dies. To recap, use your cooldowns on cooldown. If you're using Condensed Life Force, save DSM for Dark Clear, and that's like the biggest tips I can give you. Watch your own HP, be good with your personal usage, and don't jump down into the hole after the boss dies to die. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.